So in this video series, I've discussed 9 characters, all of whom have been combatants in the Gintama series. Gintama being a battle shonen series, combatants are essential. But in this video, I want to step into the non-combatant circle to discuss another great facilitator of spirit and ideology in the series, on par with people like Yoshida Shoyo, Hinoa, and even Shige Shige. When the series starts, Otose doesn't seem to be all that important in the grand scheme of things. When you got crazy-ass people with monster strength jumping around and punching each other, it's easy to miss some of the crucial backers of these characters who don't step onto the battlefield itself. Otose is one such character. At the start, she just seems to be a grumpy old lady who demands the rent money from Gintoki & Co., mostly a one-note character, but as time passes, her full personality comes into the light. Her taking in Catherine and even forgiving her after getting robbed was a good initial hint of who Otose truly is and how she lives her life. We also learn about her finding and giving Gintoki refuge after escaping from prison and fighting in the brutal Joey War just a few years earlier. She later gives Tama a place to work and live, and on the surface it seems to be Otose just being nice. It may seem like plot convenience for a bunch of new characters to be taken in by Otose, who operates just below the Yorozuya in the same building, therefore keeping them close to the main characters. However, it was eventually made abundantly clear that this was not just some afterthought character trait that Sorachi gave to her, nor is it only for the convenience of the story. Otose has a lot more to her, and it goes back way before the start of the narrative. In later arcs such as Ghost Ryokan and more importantly 4 Devas, we learn about Otose's previous relationships with Tatsugoro and Jirocho, which is really the start of her forging her own ideology in the mess that is the Yamato invasion, and the Joey War. As a sort of peacekeeper of the more rowdy Jirocho and Tatsugoro, and being close to them during most of their lives up until early adulthood, Otose knew better than anyone the true qualities of Jirocho and Tatsugoro. Both men grew up to be tough fighters, got involved with organized crime, and even went out to fight the Bakufu and Tendosho in the Joey War. These men are on the surface rough, terrifying criminals and killers, but Otose, who grew up with them, saw through their surface level qualities. She knew who both men were, she knew their true convictions and their virtue, and she never gave up on them, and was never intimidated by them, and as a result, she greatly influenced both of them. She constantly kept them in check, and her insight and refusal to judge either man for their outward qualities led both of them to fall for her. Otose and Tatsugoro eventually got married, but Otose commanded enough respect from Jirocho that he didn't even attempt to intrude on the relationship. He saw how they made each other feel and let them get together, rather than competing with Tatsugoro and potentially putting Otose in an awkward or stressful position. Jirocho is a good enough guy on his own, but it's important to note that despite his love for Otose, he felt like he at least owed it to her to allow her the peace of choosing who she wants to be with, because he values her happiness over his romantic ambitions. This speaks to the deep impact that Otose had on Jirocho. His admiration of her transcended romantic and sexual desire, and he ended up making the choice that most benefited everyone in the end. Otose's greatest skill is the ability to see the good in people, to be able to look beyond someone's outward qualities, and to see the complex person behind it all. This happened again with Gintoki, Catherine, Tama, Kagura, and even Hasegawa to a degree, as he always hangs out at her bar despite having no money, and she rarely objects to his presence. For all Otose could see, Gintoki may have been a homeless, dangerous vagrant, and the fact that she found him in a graveyard made it all the more ominous. But she knew there was more to Gintoki, and she was right. Catherine and Kagura could have simply been seen as greedy Yamantos looking to leech off of her. Catherine initially even tried to steal from Otose, and Kagura's major appetite initially gave Otose a negative impression. But she knew that both Catherine and Kagura were not evil, and did not do the things they did out of hatred for her or for humans. She was able to comprehend that Catherine and Kagura had few other options to turn to survive on Earth. So she gave Catherine a job and a home, and is regularly hospitable to Kagura alongside the human members of the Yorozuya. Tama is a robot, and in the eyes of many people, sentient AI is even more intimidating than sentient alien life. And in Gintama's context, Tama is the result of advanced Amanto technology, and therefore had lethal capacities. But Otose knew that despite not being living in the traditional sense of the term, Tama was capable of much good with the right guidance. That as a newly conscious AI, she's essentially a clean slate that can be made a friend, which is something she did by giving her work and living quarters, which in turn built her relationship with the Yorozuya & Co. to great effect. Hasegawa is on the surface just another homeless guy with nothing to offer her, but despite his terrible luck and constant L-taking, she knows Hasegawa is not a bad guy, like most of the audience does. The quality of seeing the best in people pays off for Otose. She gains the fierce loyalty of the Yorozuya, Tama, and many other people in the town. She doesn't have a standing army like the other Devas do, just a few individuals who have the utmost respect for her, but those individuals, inspired by Otose's trust in and generosity towards them, command respect of their own from even more people, which makes Otose's small force the most effective. A lot of the people she meets also end up adapting her positive insight. Gintoki, initially a reclusive, depressed man, goes out of his way to help several people throughout the course of the story. Kagura also goes on to impact people and make new friends. Catherine stops being a thief and even helps out in a few arcs. Jirocho eventually fashioned himself as a guardian of Kabukicho, going back to protect his community rather than fight an unwinnable war. And Tama becomes one of the nicest and most supportive people in the entire main cast, trusting and helping Gintoki, other machines, and even the entire Earth towards the end of the series. So that's why when we speak about some of the great influencers of the series like Shoyo, Shige, Hinoa, and the Joey 4 in their later years, I think Otose should definitely be a part of the conversation, as she's had a monumental impact on the characters in this series. Well, that's my video. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it interesting. Thanks, and take care.